You know that moment when someone starts telling you what's going wrong in their life, and before they even finish the sentence, your mind is already building solutions? It's almost automatic. You're not trying to interrupt them or take control of the conversation, but something in you just can't sit still without figuring it out. You're already connecting dots, predicting outcomes, offering quiet internal answers before they even finish explaining the problem. For a long time, this probably felt like a strength, like you're just naturally reliable, naturally capable, the kind of person people can depend on when things get messy. But what makes this interesting is that psychology suggests this pattern isn't just about being helpful. It's often something much deeper. Psychologists have been quietly observing this behavior for years, and it usually doesn't begin with confidence the way people assume. It starts with awareness, a kind of heightened sensitivity to problems, especially the subtle ones most people overlook. You notice shifts in tone, you pick up on small emotional changes, you feel tension in a room even when no one says anything directly. And when your mind detects those signals, it doesn't just register them and move on. It tries to resolve them, almost like it's your responsibility to make things smoother, clearer, more stable. This doesn't feel forced, it feels natural, like something you're just wired to do. Here's where it becomes psychologically interesting. Your brain isn't just solving problems because it enjoys it. It's often trying to regulate something internal. Unresolved situations create a kind of quiet tension in your mind, like background noise you can't fully ignore. It sits there, subtle but persistent, asking for closure. And fixing things becomes your way of turning that noise down. It gives you relief, a sense of control, a feeling that things are back in place. But that relief doesn't necessarily come from the situation being objectively solved. It comes from the internal feeling that you've done something about it. On the surface, this looks like emotional strength. You're the one people turn to, the one who stays calm when things get complicated, the one who can think clearly when others feel overwhelmed. You become the go-to person without even trying. But here's the part people rarely talk about. When you're always the one fixing everything, you don't get to simply experience things as they are. You're always slightly outside the moment, observing it, analyzing it, trying to improve it. Even in conversations that were never meant to be solved, your mind is already working in the background. Over time, this changes the way you listen. You stop listening just to understand and start listening to diagnose. Someone shares how they feel, and your brain immediately translates it into a problem that needs a solution. It happens so quickly you barely notice it. But what's interesting is that many people aren't actually looking for solutions in those moments. They're looking to feel heard. They're looking for presence, not correction. And when everything becomes something to fix, that simple human need can quietly get missed. If you trace this pattern back far enough, it often didn't start as a conscious choice. It started as an adaptation. At some point, being the one who fixed things made life easier. It created stability in environments that felt uncertain. Maybe solving problems helped reduce conflict. Maybe it made you feel useful or gave you a sense of control when things around you felt unpredictable. So your mind learned something powerful. If you can fix it, you can manage it. And over time, that belief became automatic, running quietly in the background of how you interact with the world. There's also a mental cost that comes with this, and it's not always obvious at first. People who constantly fix things tend to carry a higher cognitive load, even if they don't realize it, because they're not just living their own experiences, they're mentally managing everyone else's too. Every interaction becomes layered. What's being said, what's not being said, what might happen next, what needs to be adjusted. It's like your mind is always running multiple processes at once, even in situations that are supposed to feel simple. And after a while, you get so used to it that stillness starts to feel unfamiliar. This is where things become a bit counterintuitive. The ability to fix everything can slowly disconnect you from your own emotional experience because you're always moving towards solutions instead of sitting with what you actually feel. You become efficient, capable, dependable, but sometimes quietly exhausted. Not in an obvious, dramatic way, but in a subtle, persistent sense that your mind never fully turns off. Even when nothing's wrong, part of you is still scanning for what could be improved. So if any of this feels familiar, it doesn't mean something is wrong with you. In many ways, it means you're highly perceptive and emotionally aware. You notice things others don't. You care enough to want things to be better. But it also means your mind has been carrying a role it was never meant to carry all the time. Being the fixer isn't the issue. It's becoming the fixer in every situation, without pause, without choice, that slowly drains you. There's another layer to this that people don't always notice. When you're consistently the one who fixes things, others begin to expect it, even if they never say it out loud. You become the person who knows what to do. And because of that, even when you're tired or unsure, you still feel the pull to step in. Even when you need support, you might find yourself offering solutions instead of asking for help. And over time, your own needs become quieter. Not gone, just postponed, sitting in the background while you handle everything else. If these ideas resonate with you, you might enjoy exploring more psychology like this. Subscribing helps this kind of content reach people who may need to hear it quietly, at the right moment, just like you are right now. What begins to shift things isn't forcing yourself to stop helping people. It's awareness. Noticing the moment before you step in, that brief pause where you feel the urge to fix something. Because sometimes that urge isn't about what the other person needs, it's about what you're trying to avoid feeling: uncertainty, discomfort, the tension of not having control. And once you start to recognize that, your relationship with that urge begins to change in a subtle but meaningful way. You begin to realize that not everything needs a solution. Some things need space. Some conversations are meant to be experienced, not corrected. Some people don't need answers. They just need someone to sit with them in what they're feeling without trying to change it. And when you allow that, something shifts in how you connect with others. It becomes less about fixing and more about understanding. This doesn't make you less helpful. If anything, it makes your presence feel more real, more grounded, because now you're not always stepping in to control the moment. You're allowing it to exist as it is. You're choosing when to help instead of feeling like you always have to. And that choice creates a kind of balance that wasn't there before. So if you've always been the one who knows how to fix everything, it may not just be a skill, it may be a pattern your mind developed to create stability in uncertain situations. And once you recognize that, you start noticing it everywhere. In your conversations, in your relationships, in the quiet moments where nothing actually needs to be solved, but your mind still feels the urge to act. If this made you pause or helped you see something about yourself more clearly, you can subscribe for more reflections like this, not as answers, but as quiet ways of understanding your own patterns a little bit better. Because sometimes the most meaningful shift isn't learning how to fix more things. It's realizing that you don't have to fix everything to be okay. And in those moments where you choose to simply be present without solving or adjusting anything, you may notice something unexpected. The pressure softens, the noise quiets, and for the first time in a while, your mind isn't trying to carry everything at once. It just lets the moment be what it is. And strangely, that feels lighter than solving ever did.